Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today we are back on with the little Dansette tape recorder. And I'm happy to say that I found my box of spare belts, and I must admit I've been having a tiny little play before I just put the camera on there, and I found a couple of belts. Now they might be a little bit thinner actually in diameter than the originals, but they should do the trick. I have actually just tried that one on, and that one's got a little bit too much give in it. This one's exactly the same size, but it's just not got quite as much give in the actual elasticity of the belt. I think that's probably going to be a better option. What I did find is the possible reason why this belt actually went, and that was this here. I found all this cotton, and you can see that there. It's quite a bit of it, and I've put some in the bin already. There was a load of that, at least like about 4 or 5 feet of it actually, wrapped round these pulleys, round the bottom of the pulley that's underneath that capstan there, round this pulley, and there was even a bit wrapped round one of these, I think that pulley there. So what I think's happened is, as this has been being used in the past, it's got a little bit of cotton, don't know, off a bobbin or off someone's clothes or a curtain or something, that's found its way in. It's hooked underneath the capstan there, and it started winding round the capstan. It's not around the capstan, sorry, around underneath the capstan in that little pulley. And eventually the belt, obviously with getting all that cotton round the pulley and the belt's on the pulley like that, it's made the belt come off, or it's jammed and it snapped the belt. I mean, I don't know why there were no traces of the belt in there. Perhaps, possibly it came out, I don't know, but I think that's why the belt eventually went. It was just due to all that cotton around the pulley it was meant to ride on. But anyway, let's have a look at putting this belt on. What I have had to do is I've had to take the actual heads off the mounting down there and just swing them out of the way. That's the only way to actually get in here, to be able to get onto that pulley there. You can't actually get this belt on with all the stuff in place. What I've got to do now is remember how to, well, try and figure out actually. I did put the other belt on, and I've just got to try and remember now how to do it. I think it went round. Let's try that. I think. God, it's only a minute since I took the other one off, and I can't remember how I had it on there. And I weren't recording, so I can't even look back at the bloody recording footage. Come on, get round there. Unfortunately, I can't test it either without putting the whole damn thing back together, because the capstan here, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's right. Like that. So when the capstan turns, yeah, that's not touching. I think that looks about right. Let's put the control on and see how it moves. That's in stop. I'm not sure whether it's not turning, because that's it. I think that's going to work when I put, obviously it's still got that shot belt underneath. I think that's going to work, you know. What we need to do is put the head assembly, in fact let's switch this up. We'll have to put the head assembly back in position, because that actually, once this is screwed back in position, that actually holds that capstan in position, which then again holds the pulley that the belt's on in position. So let's see if we can just fit this back in now. Screw there. I think that's the right screw. Where's that screw from the other side? That's not going in. Take that back out again. Let's try the other screw we've got, which is this one. Let's try putting this in. Yeah, that one fits. Well, that's holding that down now. And that looks a lot better. That screw doesn't want to seem to screw in. Let's take it out and have another look at it. Find out why you're not going in. I've got a sealing compound on top of it. Perhaps I'll pull some of that off. Can my screwdriver go in it now? Yeah, that's better. Let's try that again. Everything looks lined up. It looks like it should go in. There we go. That's it. That's gone in this time. Now, I'm not going to lose it. Believe it or not, that's actually how he changed the speed. He changed this on the capstan, and that's how he changed the speed of the player. Like that. There we go. That's back on there, and there should be something holding it on that side, but there it is. That screws on there like that. I'm not sure about that. That, I think, is right. Let's just give that a little nip up. Okay. In fact, while we're in here, let's use a little bit of this spray grease that we've got on some of the places that move, like down here. Oops, that's a little bit too much on there. You have to be really careful with this stuff, or else it goes everywhere, and you don't want that. Just try and anywhere where there's basically metal on metal contact, we'll put a little bit of this, just like that. We don't want to go mad with it. We don't want to get it everywhere. But we'll just put the control in, and we'll just move them. There we go. We'll spray a little bit in there with it in that position and just get a little bit under. Very much like servicing a record deck, this. There we go. So we've got a bit of that grease underneath where there's metal on metal contact now. That seems okay. Stop. Rewind. Yeah, that seems alright now. I think that's going to work. Easiest way to see. Let's now we've got that screwed back together. Let's see. Let's put the power back on, and we'll see if we can get it to turn. I have just got the motor connected up here. I've not got any of the amplifier or anything like that connected up. So I've just got that on, so we can stop. Rewind, that's not working at the moment. Stop. It doesn't seem to be turning. Let's have a look at that belt on the back. There we go. So that seems to be working now. It's not working very well obviously because of that belt, but we can deal with that possibly when we've got this thing back in its case. But we know now that that belt there, so it might be a little bit on the thin side compared to what would have been there originally, but it's certainly it's torquey enough. It doesn't really need to be very torquey because literally all it's doing is just reeling the tape back onto the spoolie. It just needs to take up the slack basically. That's the important bit there, the capstan and the rubber drive wheel there. And that's free enough, there's nothing, no problem there. So I think what we'll do is we'll put this back into its case, if I can find it. What have I done with it? There it is. I'll start putting it back into its case, and then once we've got this back in its case, we can then address the other issue that we've got, which are them other two belts. But I'm sure that will be easier to do when this thing's all nice and flat and down. Now this of course is going to be the fun bit, is figuring out how to get all this back where it's meant to live in this bloody case. I think what we'll start with is just remounting the all the sockets that we took off before. Some rubber thing there, I hope that's not important. As I said before, this is going to be tricky. Let's move the speaker wires out of the way because I don't want to snag them and snap a speaker wire off while I'm doing this. I bet they give you just enough wire to do it. Yeah, literally just enough. So it's going to be a case of holding the connection, holding the jacks in with one finger behind, just while I get the nut on. I wouldn't want to do too many of these, I'll say that. It's a fiddly one. Oops. Yeah, the second you start putting things back together in one of these, you can't move anything because the wires aren't long enough to move everything about when you start actually putting it back in the case. Get in there. There you are. No, amazingly, that was actually a little bit easier than I was expecting it to be. He says before he puts the last one on, jinxing him. There we are. Aha! Ah, that was not as painful as I was expecting it to be. Let's knit them up with the pliers after, but we've basically got that in, so we can basically now get this set back up and set back down. Now, this is going to be the tricky bit, figuring out how to get all this back in position. And what I'm going to do actually, yeah, that'd be sensible. Perhaps after then. I'm just trying to figure out how I've got two wires here which I need to solder back onto the battery contact. And they are very short. Don't make this easy. See, here's the thing. If I put this back into its actual position, then it doesn't look like I've got enough space to actually solder the wires back on. But the wires aren't long enough to actually put it back in position and then solder the wires on. So yeah, we've got that issue. It's the chicken and the egg, which comes first. Right, what is stopping you from sitting down now? Ah, that's what is. Have I left that in the wrong position? Oh, bloody hell. I've left it in the wrong bloody position, the mechanism. That's it, I think. There. That's it. Oh, you little swine. Now I've got to lift it and get that ah, there we are. Right, now let's look at... Right, okay. I think what we'll do at this point, I'm just going to stick that screw in there, because that'll stop it moving around a little bit. I'll stick a couple more screws in, just to stop the actual unit from shifting around while we're... That's the wrong type of screw. That's the right one, I think. I'll make sure the screws aren't too long, because I don't want them to damage the plastic, poke into the plastic on the other side. I've got to make sure I put the right screw in the right hole. That's where I resist making a joke about putting things in wrong holes. Right, we've got another screw to go in somewhere, and I can't quite spot yet where it's meant to go. Let's turn this round. Ah, right. Okay, so this thing has sustained an impact at some point, because there is another post there that should have a screw in it, and the actual post down there is missing completely. But I didn't find any debris from it as we were working, so I suppose that's one of them things. That's one of them things that happens. I have just spotted another missing screw, which is down there. Oh, you sod! That's what happens when you don't use a magnetic driver. Come out. Is that the right one? Yeah. A little post at the back there. Come on, get in the right hole. Get in there. That's it. That's the right one. That's the right hole. Yeah, we left all the screws for that in there. In fact, let's take this board off, and hopefully that'll give us the room we need to reconnect that there. And that one. Okay. Slide that board that way a little bit, if we can. This is how tight it is. You've literally got about that much play to get in there. We need to solder that and that onto that connection there. So let's try twisting these together, because that'll make hopefully soldering them both into the same spot a little bit easier. Okay. Well, this is going to be really tricky to do. I should have probably soldered this back on before I don't know what I can do. I can cheat here, I think. If at first you don't succeed, cheat. Solder to that, because we are soldering onto a massive heatsink basically here, and it's sucking all the temperature out of the iron. There we go, we managed it. And then all we need to do is gently bend that back like that, and gently bend that back like that, and no one ever need know that I bodged it. There we go, so that's the power reconnectors. Let's put this board back on now. And you really can't see I've done that. Sometimes you do have to cheat a little bit just to make life easier for yourself. Especially when I don't have the nimble fingers of a Japanese assembly line worker. So they must have been bloody good to do, you know, these on the production line. Right, let's have a look here now. Of course, what we need to do is we need to put the transformer back in. We've got one screw there and a washer. Have we got some screws gone missing? Looks like we might have. I'm sure we can find them. Okay, that's that one in. Come on, where have them screws gone? Better put a screw where I'm not meant to put a screw somewhere. Let's have a look at the bottom. We can figure out which of the... So that shouldn't be in there, because that one there is a hole for a case, as is that one there, so that's correct. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Because that's a I'm being an idiot here. I'm being simple. Right, we've got to make sure this wiring is super neat, because we don't want any of this wiring to obstruct the belt here. So we've got to make sure that this wiring's out of the way. which it seems to be. That looks to be in the right place there. So this little last screw, which I weren't sure where it went, holds this tag strip down here, and it also holds them wires behind the tag strip to keep them out of the way. That's one of your main problems when working on something like this, is it could be a relatively simple fault which is easy to fix, like this was just a belt, but one of your challenges is actually getting it all back together, especially when you don't have any service information for it. And unfortunately, even though this thing's Dansette, when you got into this age, when it was made in Japan, your chances of finding service data are shall we say somewhat limited. That seems okay. I mean, that looks like we've got all that. Let's bend that. Does that hold that down there? That looks alright actually. That's holding all that out of the way. Now what have we got here? We've got to make sure we put all these back in the right places as well. This one goes down there. That's that battery contact. Once I've figured out how they go in. Do they go in that way? No, they must go in that way. That must just stick up. Yeah, that's right. And then the spring goes in front of it. In fact, you push that through this. I think you put the spring in first and then you push that in to lock it in position. So this is as much of a learning curve for me, because I haven't worked on one of these before. And this Japanese stuff does seem to be somewhat different to UK built stuff. It goes in like that. Should be another spring. Oh, hang on, yeah, we said spring in first. Lock the spring in position like that. And then this plate goes in to give you your electrical contact. Bet you can't see that, can you? Like that. Okay, that's looking good. Now, this green wire needs to be soldered to that contact there, and hopefully this might be a little bit easier, because at least we're only soldering one wire in. It'll need a fair bit of heat. Oops, come on, get in there, that's it. And there we go, that's connected. Oh, we might as well connect the speaker back up, mightn't we? Let's make the snips. Side cutters. Oops, I forgot it again. Sorry about that, folks. I forgot the camera. Hopefully you haven't missed anything there. I've just connected the speakers back up and basically connected the battery connections back up. So let's put the power connector back in. Again, we've got to be super careful that we route these wires where we're not going to risk obstructing the drive belt there. So that goes in like that, and it literally just, I think it literally does just sit in position, and then the yeah, because if we look at, oh, that was a silly thing to do. Put that back in. That one is from there. And that one dropped out of there. Now, what was I saying? Yeah, there's a little groove basically in the bottom of the case there that lines up with, so that's fine. And yes, I am leaving the original power connector back in, and I'll show you why shortly. Right. Now, these need holding back, and I think, if I remember correctly, that's what this here is for. I hope I'm putting all these strain and reliefs back in the right position. We'll know when we are trying it doesn't work anyway. Something jams. Okay. Oh no, that's the wrong hole. Ah, I see what I've done. We have made a little mistake. I'll take that screw off there, and we'll screw that side of the transformer down. There. Make sure we don't trap any wires under the screws. And take this side out. And we'll put that on there. That through that lot. There we are, that's more like it. And that is used to hold that lot of wire in position like that. There we are. That can be tucked down there. That won't get in the way of the batteries. It's not fouling on anything. The mains connector seems okay. That's connected to where it should be. We're not going to trap anything when we put the case down. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That obviously, like I said, that'll sneak back in there when we put the lid back on. So that's basically the unit back in its case. I don't know whether we're going to get it to play with that belt though. So what I think we will do is we'll go back into the magic box. I can't guarantee I'm going to have exactly the right belt for this, but hopefully, if we're really lucky, we might find something that will at least do the job. That don't look far off, does it? Let's have a look at that one. It's a little on the thick side, but look what we've got. That's far too big. So these aren't new belts or anything. They're literally what I've salvaged off old players and old scrap things over the years. But they're handy to keep around just for instances like this when you just want something to have a try with. Let's have a disk drive. Let's get this off and let's have a look, see if any of these are going to fit. So anything's got to be better than that belt that's on there at the moment. The question is, how do we remove this? Ah, I think it's going to be is it? All I'm going to say is it's simple as just taking that off, but I don't think it's anywhere near that simple. I think we have to take literally this entire mechanism out just to change that one belt. Let's have a look. And two out, and then presumably once you've undone these, that entire thing should come out. Let's see. No, they've got a nut on the back of them, that's obvious. We've definitely made this tricky. Let's have a look. Does it pull out from the middle? Oh, it looks like... Let's have a look here. So this is where you really do need a service manual. Do we get that off? There we go. Right. Now with that out of the way, is there a chance we can sneak the belt up and over that, and then we don't have to take that off? Because if we have to take that off, we've got to take the whole damn thing apart again. And we lift that slightly, make life a bit easier. Perhaps I shouldn't have done this one on on video. I'd usually be swearing my head off at something like this. Come off there, you little. And then we go over the top, and then pull that free. Sneak that in there. Now, can we get it out? So I've got this horrible feeling. They don't just unscrew, they've got nuts on the back of them. Definitely. And they're not captives or anything. Alright, we're down to there. We've got it out of that far. Right. We're that far. Drop it down. There isn't enough room that side now to get it underneath the motor. Yeah, they've made this incredibly tricky to do. I don't want to have to take the entire mechanism back out after all that work. I'm just going to hope I can possibly sneak it underneath. I think I've just got enough room to get that under now. Yeah, there's just enough playroom. Push that under. I've got that side under. Hopefully we can do the same on this side. Of course, then we've got all the fun of doing this in reverse to get a new belt on there. Oops, I'm running into things with my chair. There we are. Down. Oh, you little... Nope, that's not going to work. Just bear with me, folks. I will be back very shortly. Okay, well, I managed it. That has took me the best part of an hour of fiddling. I didn't actually take it all apart again. I did fathom out a way. But it has took me the best part of an hour to get that on and all lined back up and set back up again. basically what I did is I took them 2 screws out there, and with them screws out I could lift that part of the mechanism up just enough that I could slip and weave the belt under, get it round, then pull it back this way and get it over the top, and there. The belt is not ideal, it is a little on the thin side. I probably will get a complete belt kit for this if I can. But it does fit better than the old one. The old one actually broke as I was trying to get the damn thing out finally. But this one does actually fit a bit better. Unfortunately, I don't have a replacement for that. It won't matter. It does just about work, but at least we should be able to see if this thing will play a little bit better and actually keep reeling its tape on. So I probably will get a proper belt kit for this thing. It is in rather nice condition, so it's probably worth it. But this was worthwhile anyway, just to see if we can actually get the thing up and functioning. Like I said, when I bought it, and up until we started playing with it the other day, I didn't honestly know whether it was going to work at all. So what we're going to do is, I think we'll put it back together, and we're going to see if we can get this thing to play on the mains, and I'll show you what I've come up with to allow us to do that. But yeah, like I said, this thing doesn't use a standard figure of 8 connect. Ooh, sugar lumps. I've just thrown one of my screws across the workshop. Ah, that's wonders never cease. I've actually found it. Now that is a miracle, because usually when I drop a screw on this floor, it's never to be seen again. Let's line that up there, that's it. That needs pushing down so it doesn't get in the way of the batteries, like that. That fits okay actually. Yep, that just needs pulling up and bending round a little bit, like that. Yeah, that's actually gone together okay. Let's put all the screws back in it. Like I said, we'll give it a try playing on the mains. Slightly out of, oh, there it goes. A little bit out of alignment there. That's going in there. That one. That's tight. Oops. So I'm just going to scrape that off over my bin, because that's going everywhere all over my workbench. There we go, that's got rid of that. Lock that. Get that. Get that foam off there. And off my bench. Horrible, that foam, when it starts to disintegrate. It goes everywhere. Lock that. Okay. I'll put that back on. And what I've got, well, made, is this. I'll show you. Basically what I've done, and I've took an IEC lead, and with a scalpel I've cut away all the plastic, so it's just left with the 2 conductors with the plastic surrounds. I then squeeze them together and put a bit of glue to glue them together, so if you look at the end there, they're actually closer in than they are in a standard figure of 8 connector. And then obviously I've put a couple of pieces of heat shrink over it and just shrunk that down, and that now, if we look, actually fits perfectly. And that's not a loose connection or anything, that is a decent connection, and quite hopefully, like I said, it looks decent and robust. It doesn't look too bodged up. Obviously it's not perfect, but with the absence of actually being able to get them connected, and it does still activate the battery trip switch in there when it goes in as well, so it does isolate the batteries, so there's no danger there. So it's not ideal, but it is certainly better than on what I think is probably actually quite a rare machine now. rather than hack it about. Like I said, at least that allows us to be able to use the thing on the mains. Well, hopefully we're going to try that now. Oh, and I've forgotten something. That needs to go back on. That's the little cover. It's just that's how it clips on. Oh, there we go. That's clipped back into position. We'll try plugging it in, and we'll see if we can get this thing to run on the mains. Bear in mind, I've not tried powering on this on the mains yet, so we'll see what happens now. We may get some horrible mains hum or something, but we'll see. Let's switch it on. Not gone bang. See if it's going to operate. Indeed it does. So that's being powered off the mains. Rewind seems to work alright. Let's have a go with that tape whip. Bloody hell. I think the boy racers are out tonight. I can't say anything really because I've got my little two-seater for summer, and I do have a tendency to have a bit of fun in that thing. But then again, I do that early on a Sunday morning on country roads. I don't tend to do it at 10 o'clock at night in a built-up area. Well, semi-rural, but it's still it's reasonably built up around here. It is a village. There we go. Right, let's see if we can get this thing to play properly this time.
Lektion.
There we go.
Ein Besuch in Hamburg. Wenn man nur ein paar Tage in Hamburg ist, hat man keine Zeit, alles zu sehen. Es wird daher gut sein, sich vorher zu überlegen, was einen am meisten interessiert.
Not mega loud, that's
Vor
full
allem müssen
volume.
Sie einen Spaziergang durch die Stadt machen. Beginnen Sie an der Alster.
Oh, the kind of volumes this thing would generally be being played at. I don't say it's absolutely horrendous. It doesn't sound too
Am
bad.
einen Ufer liegt der Jungfernstieg, eine der bekanntesten Geschäftsstraßen Hamburgs.
I think it should have a little bit of back tension on that reel, like that. So perhaps there's a little felt pad underneath's gone.
Über die Alster führt die Lombardbrücke und ein Spaziergang darüber.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should have a little bit of back tension on that.
Der Anblick des
To stop it, because if you can see, it's just unreeling and then catching up on itself like that. What I think it needs is there should probably be a little felt pad underneath there. I didn't spot it, so perhaps it's gone. But just put a tiny bit of back tension on that, like that.
Ich würde auch eine Fahrt mit der U-Bahn machen, die die Stadt fährt.
It's very tricky. I mean, if I do it with my finger, I can even slow it down, which isn't very good.
Hamburg hat ein Opernhaus, mehrere Schauspielhäuser,
But it definitely seems to be playing okay.
Denkmäler und viele Museen.
Unfortunately, what this thing doesn't have is a fast forward, so we can't really see what's on the other side of the tape. Plus, what we could do. Well, Rewind's not happy with having to rewind that much tape, I don't think. Unfortunately, I said the belt for the rewind is the belt that I haven't changed yet, because I haven't got one that's suitable, or even slightly suitable. I think with it all spooled up like that, it just doesn't have the torque. As you can see, once it's got off there, it's got enough, but there just isn't enough torque on that because that belt's so slack for the rewind. But like I said, we seem to now be playing quite reasonable. At least it's taking the tape up now, so that shows that that little belt that we replaced in there is now working alright. So yeah, I'm probably going to leave it there for now. Like I said, I will possibly order some, or at least see if I can source some proper belts for this of the correct diameter. And certainly, I think it certainly deserves them. I might do something fun with this actually. Anyone fancy me doing a video where I load a specky game or something off a reel-to-reel tape recorder? Because this would be the perfect thing to do it with. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna perhaps try loading some computer software using this thing, just for a laugh. If anyone's interested and thinks I should do that as a fun little video, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, I know it's not been a full restoration or anything, but at least we've got it that we know it definitely does work, and it does need really a full set of new belts in it. But yeah, it works. I'm quite happy with that. It's a nice little thing to have in the collection. So I may pass it on to someone who's more of a Dansette aficionado than I am. I'm not a huge Dansette fan. I'm much more into like the hackers and some of the more high-end stuff than the Dansette stuff. But it's good stuff to play with. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now for this, because fortunately the cable that I've been waiting for the Mega Drive arrived today. So the next video is going to be on finishing the Mega Drive off. We've got it all there ready for the next video. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.